Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal: The New Normal. I'm your host, Jeremy, and yes, I know it's been a long time. I took the holidays off, I guess. Didn't plan it, just kind of happened. But took the holidays off from this one, and well, what can I say? I got a few good shows in the next couple weeks for you guys. Glad I could be back for you. Starting with today, because we're back to try to make the world seem a little more normal. Doesn't ever happen. We've been through this. No, doesn't happen. But today's guest may explain why that is a little bit, but we'll see. I don't want to put too much pressure on her. But we are I'm being joined today by Aleksandra Ceho, hit it, master of astrology, martial arts, and a hermetic philosophy. What is that last thing? Well, we'll find that out for sure. But welcome, Aleksandra. I'm happy to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeremy. I'm really excited to connect with you today.
It's always a pleasure to have these conversations with people, and I kind of missed it. Kind of. Did I miss being on the freezing cold porch 10 in the morning? No, but I did miss these conversations. That's for damn sure. So, start this off. Same way I started 300 plus of these off already. What brought you down the path towards spirituality, the paranormal, whatever you prefer to call it?
Oh my gosh. Well, my own journey actually started in my childhood. My grandfather was an amateur astrologer, and so he had astrology books. And oh, I remember he had the Encyclopedia of the Unexplained, and so I used to love delving
Ooh.
into that and reading that, about the Loch Ness, the Ogopogo, the Oracle of Delphi. But it was actually his astrology books that were the major pull for me. And so I used to read about the Greek gods and goddesses, Ares, Aphrodite, Hermes, Athena, and I would read about their stories, and I fell in love with them. And so that actually led me down the path of studying astrology. And so I used to go to my grandparents' place. I would steal his books, his astrology books, and I would sit down with them and with a dictionary, and I'd try and look up the words I didn't understand in his books. So not only did spirituality initiate a lifelong path for me, it also made me a really great reader.
Yeah, it definitely. Astrology. I've talked to many people who are many astrologists in my time in the show, and it's always different. Every astrologer always has a different view on things, and it fascinates me because it's like, how can all these people with the same title think view the world so differently? And I'm like, I guess it's just part of the unknown sciences right there. That basically explains it, but it's it's kind of strange. I mean, you ask a salesman like me, like about the world, and most from a regular point of view, we're both usually all the same answer. Like it's just a grind. That's all it is. We grind and we grind and we grind and we sleep when we can. That's basically the bottom line. But uh, hey, David, thanks for coming by. But so what? So when you get after you growing up, seeing your grandfather's books and these and all that, you get older. Did you initially go to this like Ray as like an adult, or Ray, we started adulthood? Did you immediately
Oh, I
go?
never stopped.
Oh, really?
I never stopped. The first time I encountered his books, I guess you could say that was the beginning of a lifelong love affair. Astrology was my first love and still is. Um, so I continued studying. I learned how to cast my own chart at the age of 10 using a book called an ephemeris that he had. And then from there, I began looking into tarot and other metaphysical topics. And um, I encountered a place called the Modern Mystery School when I was 19, actually, and so I started studying with them. And it's been 20 years now where that work has just taken me so much deeper into my knowledge and understanding, not only of astrology but also of healing, of the paranormal world, all of these things.
I I love the mystery school. I have a good podcaster friend who actually lives in the same town as me. I had him on the show a few months ago. Andy Grant, host of Real Men Feel
Oh
podcast.
my God. Yeah, Andy's amazing.
Yeah, I yeah, we're both members of New Englander podcasters group. So yeah, I met
I
him.
love it. I'll have to say hi to him after. I'll send him a message.
I remember a good 6 months ago when he came on the show to tell us all about the school of mystery. And once I once things settle down with my kid, once my kids get a little older, I definitely will be learning from him and actually possibly becoming an initiate. So it's he he intrigued me. He intrigued me. The fact it's been around since before Jesus kind of like made me like oh my like be like wait a minute now. And I've seen him do his work. Like he helped me out with some personal things with his work, and it's wow. It, the stuff he can find out with his
I
different.
love Andy. He's so great. He
He
really
really is.
is.
He really is. He's a great guy. Funny, he lives in the same town as me, but I couldn't tell you where he lives in the town, but he lives in the same town as me. But um,
If you just drive
uh,
around, you'll feel his aura. It'll feel nice.
yeah, I'm sure. But so, what was the path that you? Well, we said the mystery school. Does that explains a lot actually? Because but hermetic philosophy, I'm dying to know what that like. I've heard that term before, but I never actually had someone tell me like what branch of philosophy that is.
Oh my gosh. Well, so this is such an interesting story because you mentioned teachings that are older than Jesus, and astrology is actually the same thing. So astrology and Hermetic philosophy both originate from what people would call a mythological figure, whose name is Hermes Trismegistus.
Hmm.
And and so Hermes Trismegistus means Hermes thrice blessed. And he was blessed because he brought the teachings of astrology, alchemy, and theurgy, which is ritual magic, to the planet. And Hermetic philosophy is basically the teachings that Hermes passed down to his son Tat and then his student Asclepius, who carried them forward into the world. And Hermetic philosophy is really the principles and energies that exist behind reality. So many people have heard of the seven hermetic principles as an example. And so they know about the principle of mind and all is mind. The universe is mental, right? And so all of these principles are core teachings that originated from Hermes thousands of years ago, including astrology.
Exactly, and so actually one of our viewers just asked the creator, which I mean I know legends of Hermes from like my love of ancient culture and like learning about ancient Greece, but I don't think he was a creator of any. Oh, the creator. I mean,
He was the one who first brought astrology to the planet.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we can't say he created the stars or anything like that, but rather he originated the lineage of teachings.
Which makes sense. Which if I'm thinking straight here, because this is early in the morning, my coffee's not done yet. But I believe it eventually Socrates followed in the teachings of the Hermetic philosophy. If
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. Yeah, I
absolutely.
that's where I know it from is Socrates. Yeah, okay. I knew I knew that term from somewhere. I'm like, I know somebody I know about in ancient Greece was using that. I'm like, and it's always Socrates. I should always assume that, but he did everything. But
Plato and Aristotle as well,
oh, of
because
course.
the line of Hermes traveled up through Africa into Egypt. And when it was in Egypt, it also merged with the original Sumerian teachings, which were basically a separate branch. And so from Egypt, that's what traveled up into Greece. And so Hellenistic astrology, which is what Western astrology is based off of, is a combination of Sumerian and Hermetic principles, or
Ah,
I guess you could say practices, techniques, that kind of thing too.
so well, let's. I mean, get down to brass tack here. What is the for astrology? Like, what is the main reason people come to you for help with astrology?
It's kind of interesting. It's evolved over time. So in the beginning, people started coming to me because they were seeking themselves. And, very often it was they were in the face of challenge and there were answers about themselves that they were missing, or there were blind spots that they were encountering that they didn't really know how to overcome. And so through that trial, they recognized that either there was healing that needed to happen, or there was a part of themselves that they didn't understand. And what started happening was my own practice kept growing because I started taking forecasting tools and I started applying it to my practice, and I guess you could say to the business side of my practice. So as an example, Jeremy, I would look at Jupiter transits to my chart, which would indicate moments of good timing to do things like presentations and advertising and that kind of thing. And so I started using those transits to amplify the work that I was doing. And what started happening was people also started consulting me for their own entrepreneurial ventures because they wanted to create, they wanted to manifest. And so they saw how I was using astrology, like my own personal forecasting in order to accomplish that manifestation. And so I started working with entrepreneurs and business owners to help them do the same, basically. And it is so much fun. I have learned so much about the world, and I also get to meet a lot of really amazing people along the way too.
Well, same reason I do this podcast. I've met so many amazing people over, and it's funny how they connect. It's funny how like you'll meet somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, I know that person that was on your show." I'm like, "Oh," I mean, small. It's just, I mean, yeah, the paranormal community is ever growing, but it's still a tight knit small community, which good or bad for some people. I've seen the bad a lot on Facebook recently, but just people. What are you gonna do? But I mean, I was gonna say it makes sense. I'm gonna have you start calling me when it's a good day to make sales. I'll make sure I make more calls those days. But
And I'll also
uh,
tell you when's the good days to take off too and go have fun.
yeah, I don't get enough hours to do that. I don't even get enough vacation time to do that. Really, that's the sad part. But that's what happens when you're the lowest guy in the totem pole. But so when people come to you and they say they're stretched thin, that life's just torn them apart, that kids, work, everything else in between that, trying to keep a happy marriage, blah blah blah. Which okay, I shouldn't say blah 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 after that because that makes it seem like that's not important. But um, like, what's your what's your typical go-to when people come to you for that type of problem? I'm sure that's something they come to you for all the time because that's a common problem that in this day and age we all face. Everybody's spread too thin in every single way.
And the trouble with that is when you diffuse your energy, it's very hard to see results in anything that you do. There's a certain amount of concentration or energetic potency that you need to have in order to manifest results. So when I work with people, I usually have them give me one or two major priorities that they're looking to make progress on. That everything else they will attend to when they can, but one or two really major priorities. What are the two key things that you need to move forward in your life, that you need to have success on? And and then what I do is I use the transits as an example to help them prioritize when to act on things during the year. Because sometimes energetically, like to give you an example, in the second half of the year this year, Jupiter moves into Leo. And so let's say that Jupiter moving into Leo creates a whole bunch of favorable aspects for that priority. Like let's say as an example, they are looking for business growth, and they're looking to go and put themselves out there, do sales, right?
Exactly.
So if that first half of the year doesn't necessarily have anything, it doesn't mean it's not possible, but maybe that's your time to work on another priority, because you know that if you just kind of sustain the first priority, right, the sales priority, you just kind of sustain it, and then you really jump into it in the second half of the year when you have a lot of that favorability, then in that first part of the year you can work on something else, right?
Yeah,
And maybe that first part of the year is focusing on your health. Maybe it's focusing on your relationship, right?
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, you you put your energy where it actually is going to have some fruition, rather than putting it somewhere where it's going to be wasted. And why do that when you're way spread thin? That's going to destroy you. But and actually, I guarantee that's what happens when people do hit that rock bottom is because they put their energy where they shouldn't have at that point, and it just didn't work out, and it just was already at a point of break or secede. So I mean, and they hit the brake. They
Or
hit the
they
brake.
made decisions because they weren't clear about who they are or what they want.
That,
And,
that
and
yeah,
that's the other piece to it too, right? Sometimes people hit rock bottom because they persisted in something that they knew wasn't in alignment with them or wasn't good for them.
yeah. I've seen it happen. Yeah, I mean, it's the way it goes. I tell my customers that too, but they don't listen. Instead, I tell
May they start listening to you this year, Jeremy.
maybe hopefully, but
Yeah, that's the prophetess Cassandra syndrome. Cassandra was the prophetess in Troy, and she foresaw the Trojan horse and the danger that it meant, but she was also cursed with the um, unfortunate thing that people don't listen to her. So there she was warning everybody about danger, and nobody listened to her. The prophet no one listened to.
yeah. Well, I feel like there's more than one of those out there, but um, it definitely is. But uh, so you mentioning what's happening later this year with Jupiter got me thinking because we are getting inevitably closer to what is supposed to be a huge year in the spiritual, supernatural, paranormal world. I've heard
Yeah.
I mean, everybody talks about 2027 now for the last few years and how it's showing signs of something momentous coming. We don't, no one knows what it is. No one knows what it is. I can't stress that enough. Nobody will tell you what the frick it is. But what is this? What do you think it means? Like with 2027 coming, like, is there any signs in the astrological universe? Because I don't think I've actually had an astrologist on since I asked this, or astronomer, or not astronomer. Damn, I'm not awake yet.
Well,
Astrologist, yes, I'm
I,
correct.
I think
Astrologist.
I
But
think what people are obliquely referring to, Jeremy, is the Uranus return for the United States.
hmm,
So every 84 years, Uranus returns back to its original position in a natal chart, right? So you can produce natal charts for every country on the planet. Of course, for every person, you can do it for a business, right? The minute something is born, you can create a natal chart for it.
yes,
And so um, with the Declaration of Independence, that is the natal chart of the United States. Um, so Uranus being in Gemini is actually very tied to the history of the United States. So there are aspects that go back even further, that coincide with, for example, the Protestant Reformation, right? And the Protestant Reformation, was a huge population that was on board of the Mayflower that originally traveled to the U.S., right?
yeah,
And then from there, it coincided with the United States having the highest literacy rate in the entire world at the time, because part of the Protestant Reformation was that they wanted everyone to have their own Bible and to be able to read their own Bible.
yeah, of course,
So so then from there, of course, we have the Declaration of Independence, and then so when that was signed, Uranus was sitting at, I believe, almost 7 degrees. There's different historical disputes based on how old the astrologer is who writes the information. So if you go back into the 20s, they say it was I believe 6 degrees and 50 minutes there, but basically at 7 degrees Gemini. And so every time Uranus returns to that point, it brings revolutions of sense, in a sense. And so from the Declaration of Independence to the Civil War, to Hiroshima, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and and the rest of World War II, and now here we are at the next cycle, 84 years later. And a lot of people are kind of worried about it because I mean, like one of the last revolutions was, of course, the American Civil War,
Yes.
right? However, um, what I have observed with every revolution is that no matter what happens, if there's war or not, or just civil unrest, the U.S. has always come into a better state on the other side of it. So I know that there's a bit of a doom and gloom prediction out there,
Mm.
but what I would argue is that every time it has happened, you have ended up with technological revolutions, greater peace, and greater union.
Yep. Every
And
time.
and, and so I'm not actually scared of it. I'm excited to see what comes on the other side of it.
Mo- I mean, yeah, I rarely have heard much on the doom and gloom of it. I've more heard of like the how amazing it's going to be, that it's the ultimate spiritual awakening that we've been waiting 50 years to see. That there's been many ones here and there over the last couple decades, but this is going to be the major spiritual awakening where most of the world, not just America, but most of the world, and America too, of course, will realize, their minds will open up and they'll realize they're all focusing on the wrong things. They're all focusing. I think actually, I don't know. I almost see something happening with technology, or something happening where we're going to be kind of forced out of social media world and more back into an olden way where we have to focus and actually think about things rather than be distracted. Because I mean, everybody knows the days of free thinking went the day the smartphone came to be in like '07 ish. Like when that day came to be with the iPhones, that's when the world stopped thinking, because we all got distracted by what they put in front of us to block our mind from anything else that's actually beneficial to the world. So, I mean, I don't know. I see something like that happening. I mean, it's not the doom and gloom of what could be. But it's the fact that there will be something that has to happen in order for something good to happen. There has to be the yin to the yang, and what's going to happen that's going to be bad. That's the thing that everybody is actually. That's the thing I can see people being worried about. I myself just try to be like, hey, ain't good. I mean, I'm hoping it's extraterrestrials come down and teach us things. That's my out. I'm like, let that be the doom. Let's maybe destroy a couple cities, uh, maybe, and that's the doom. We'll take the good part afterwards, but maybe let them destroy some cities there. Just destroy Flint, Michigan. Why not? There's nothing good in that city anyway, from what we've been told for the last 30 years. So, I mean, we can give you a few more, but it's just I don't know. Something's got to happen.
Hopefully, we don't need destruction to learn.
I mean, hopefully not, but I'm just saying. I can give some.
Let's go for a best case scenario.
I mean, yeah, if it'd be great, or I mean, it'd be great if the government finally just reveals that it has been having these contracts with extraterrestrials for centuries, if not millennia, and I'm hoping it's just that reveal. I'm hoping it's just like, okay, everything's out in the open now. There you go, and that's when they come down. Like that's my hope. There doesn't have to be any. Doesn't have to be any Independence Day type thing for them to come down. They can just come down, and be peaceful, hopefully, but we'll see. I don't know. The future the future's scary right now in a lot of different aspects. So that's just one aspect of it, even. But
Yeah, but I think that there's also something else happening. I always do a yearly forecast, and I called 2026 the year of the Phoenix, and rising out of the ashes, because just a couple of days ago, Neptune entered Aries. And then we have Saturn entering Aries in 2 weeks. And people are not feeling the desire to be bound by their circumstances or to acquiesce to their circumstances anymore. There's so many people right now who um, want to create their own future. And part of that looks like, as an example, moving into the entrepreneurial world. They
hmm
they don't want to be employed by somebody else and play somebody else's game and build somebody else's castle.
They don't want to be a cog in the machine. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also there's also an element of wanting to genuinely express yourself, right? So when you're a cog in the machine, or when you're playing by somebody else's game, you're not necessarily abiding by your purpose in this world. And I don't think that corporations and things like that are ever going to go away. I think that
No.
they'll always exist, right? In order for us to maintain some of the things we have, we're always going to need some of those bigger scale, kind of productions, right? But there's a lot more people who are willing to take a risk and to forge their own path right now. And I actually kind of appreciate that, because it does create a little bit more competition. And I actually think that the world needs that, because many structures in this world have become complacent, and
Yes.
know that they can mistreat people, because where else are they going to go?
I mean, you're right. There's more people nowadays. I mean, so like I said before, smartphones have definitely helped with this, but more and more people are trying to start their own business, or start a business with their friends. They're everybody wants to be an entrepreneur now. Nobody wants to just go, oh, I got a job. Like you don't hear people say like I got a job with this company. Like it used to be a huge thing when I was like fresh out of college. Yeah, like if you got a job with like a name brand, like a name company that people knew, like it's just like it was huge. Like everybody's like, oh, you're working for them? That's amazing. Like
Yeah,
they're a good company. Now it's just like no. Everybody's like, oh, I do self tanning. That's my job. I run a self tan business, and or I run. What I see more and more nowadays, which actually amazes me, is pet mobile pet grooming. I see more and more advertisements for mobile pet grooming than anything
yeah.
else on local pages. I'm just like, how many people need their pets clean in this world? Jesus, like it doesn't seem like it should be that lucrative. But and
Well, it's
I
because
actually,
people don't want to have to travel to do it. That's why it works.
oh yeah, the convenience. Convenience is a huge factor in anything. But I mean, I even saw one the other day where they actually cleaned the crap out of your yard. I didn't. I thought that was a thing going on King of the Hill. I didn't think that was actually a freaking company, and apparently it is now. Which, yeah, I mean, it's what people can. It's a good thing and it's a scary thing because people can do anything they want. But it's
Yeah,
also you're right though because people are. It's creating more of a stress on these people though because you're not and you lean more on other people when you do these type of things. You have to lean on your family, your friends for financial backing and help until you can actually start making a profit. So you're affecting not just you, you're affecting everybody around you when you do this, good or bad, you're affecting them. And I think it's the reason like parents can't get comfortable because they're still supporting their kids way later than they should be because their kids didn't go to college and get a job with a good company. And the parents are affected, the kids affected, the siblings are affected if they already actually got a good job and they're then helping their sibling out constantly with everything else. It's just you're affected. It creates like a basically like a radiation effect off of the person where they're slowly dragging down everybody else around them, and it's. I never even really thought about it until we had this conversation, and I'm like, that's it. Kind of dots all were connecting as you're talking. I'm like, that's kind of scary that's the way the world's becoming.
that's the trade-off, though, right? Because how do I put this? I mean, first of all, nobody teaches you how to do business. You kind of learn by trial by fire.
Yeah.
That's really how it goes. But I mean, like when I first started, Jeremy, it was, almost 20 years ago. And yes, I was young, but also I would work jobs to keep myself afloat while I
Yep.
built this business. I started out in healthcare, and I worked in motor vehicle accident clinics, and I treated patients, and then in the evenings I would see clients, and on weekends, and
Yeah.
and so I built up what I did. I always made sure that I was paying my bills, right? And so some people think it's kind of like an all or nothing kind of thing, and especially when you're trying to perhaps launch something like a product, it's a little bit different. um, so there's the one point, but then there's also that trade-off. It's, do you take a risk on yourself and be willing to do trial by fire, knowing that the payoff could be massive?
Yep.
Or
Exactly.
or
Or
do you trade your soul in some cases and acquiesce to stability?
exactly. I mean, it's very few of these people are going to end up on Shark Tank getting an investor to back them and support them. Most of these people, I mean, shout out to Maine Lobster, to Cousins Lobster out of Maine, because you guys are incredible. But um, it's a lot. There's a huge. I mean, they say with restaurants, 1 out of 3 restaurants that open will make it more than three
Yeah.
years. It's that number is that percentage is even smaller for entrepreneurs. Like you're
Oh yeah.
most of them are not going to make it. It's going to be you're going to end up working in an office job in 5, 10 years whenever you finally decide to give it quits and just say, hey, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. You're going to end up back in the cog as a cog because people have to be cogs. The machine's not going to work if there's not cogs. That's sadly the way it is. But I mean, but what you said, like you have to start see, that's what I was talking about though, the mindset of 20 years ago versus now. 20 years ago, I was fresh out. 20 years ago, I was fresh out of high school. Actually, this year, yeah, 20 years ago, I was fresh out of high school, and I never said, oh, I'm gonna go start trying to do this or create a business doing that. No, that never hit my mindset once. It wasn't a thing back then. It was just, okay, I gotta go to college and get a business degree so I can go into the business world and make money or whatever, whatever major you want to go for, folks. Not everything is business, but I mean, that was 20 years ago, and now it's just, I mean, as much as I agree with Charlie Kirk's argument that college can be unnecessary and just a waste of money, it 100% can be. It 100% is kind of a scam because I spent 7 years going to college, and I still am not working anything better than entry level. So, I mean, yes, it's a very versatile entry level I'm working. It's not just fast food, but it's it's not like I went to college and got hired as a some kind of officer straight out of college. Like it's not the way it works. It's not the way it
Yeah.
works anymore at least. I mean, there's chances of it still, but it's not like it was 20 years ago in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Like there was that's what you did back then. You went to college, you got a job. Now people are living in their mom's basements for 10 years after high school trying to figure out what they want to do. And while that's all fine and dandy if you have that availability, it's not recommended because you're not becoming your true self. You're not getting out there to find your true self. Like, am I going down wrong? Am I going down the wrong path here, or am I kind of on the ball? Like, I'm getting mixed feelings on what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely, right? Because every one of us has to make a decision. And I think it also depends on what you find fulfillment in. If you're looking to self-actualize through your career, then yeah, maybe working for somebody else isn't necessarily the answer for you. But but if that self-actualization happens through family and relationship, then maybe maybe working a job is going to be the thing that works for you, right? It's all really dependent on you and how and where you want to grow in life. And this is why astrology is such a beautiful thing because it can help you refine your perspective on that.
Exactly. I mean, well, yeah, yeah, there are many tools, and astrology is definitely among top of them in my mind. Like, I even as a kid, I used to read the horoscopes in the damn newspaper. I mean, everybody would tell me like, you can't trust those freaking things. But I'd be like, the synchronicity of how often they would actually line up with something in the next couple of days was beyond belief. Like, I saw the proof. I saw the proof that they were not wrong about the horoscope. So astrology has always been something I somewhat believed in. Like I always felt like it had some meaning, and there obviously could be some foretelling because it happened. I've had fortune cookies freaking come true, and I can't explain that because they're made in a damn factory. They're made in a damn factory, not by astrologists or anything similar. They're made by a damn machine, but I've had them come true. Like maybe maybe it's the suggestion of the mind. Like maybe it's the suggestion that
The
it puts in the
universe is
mind.
mental.
Yeah,
Maybe you really liked what the fortune cookie said, and so with enough concentrated thought, you manifested that, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, it could have been just simply some manifestation, which manifestation does work. I can speak to that because and it I've manifested a lot of days of good sales because I went in saying to myself all morning, it's gonna be a huge day in sales today. And I usually was right when I did that. And no, I'm not manifesting money, folks, because you can't do that. That doesn't work. Not normally, it won't work. You have to kind of grayish area around it and find a way to make it lead to money, even though you're not wishing
You
for
can
money.
manifest opportunity.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
in manifesting opportunity and digging your hands into it, then you manifest money.
Is it, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, it's a gray area. It really is, but it works. Sometimes you got to ride the gray to get to the right area here. But but I've seen the proof of it, and that's why I mean, I believe that's why I believe in all this. Like, I did not believe in all this when I started this podcast. I didn't believe in all of it fully. I planned on being the skeptic on most conversations when I started this, and how quickly I got proved wrong on that line. But I, I you can't play the skeptic when the proof is there. That's the thing. You can't play the skeptic when the proof is there. And well, actually, that's all right. That's actually a perfect. That's actually a good tie-in. So, if we want the truth, we're saying the proof is there. How is astrology and Hermetic philosophy and all these other clairvoyancy and all these other different methods of foretelling? How does it provide actual guidance for people trying to make big decisions? Like, how does it work actually? Like, because it's, I mean, I know we're not going to get into like science here of it, but how's it work in your mind?
Well, I think part of the first thing is that, whenever someone has a big decision to make, there's a lot of weight that comes with that. And the weight is emotional weight,
Hmm.
right? The bigger the decision, the bigger the emotional weight. And that emotional weight puts on, blinders. So here's somebody trying to, make a decision, and they have this emotional weight, so they can hardly see a thing. Sometimes it's more like this, right? And and here they are trying to make a decision. Things like astrology, clairvoyancy, tarot, they open the field of information. It is light because light is basically what creates clarity. So through using tools of the light, astrology, tarot, clairvoyancy, any runes, whatever you like, you open up their field of vision again, and you help lift some of that emotional weight off of them so that they can begin to see with clarity.
And we're not talking about your regular eyes here, folks. This is the mind's eye. This is not your regular eyes.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. Just to clarify.
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it is also their regular eyes. Jeremy, haven't you ever had like an adrenaline dump? Because you have a decision just sitting on you, and your adrenaline's starting to kick, and you get that tunnel vision. And I mean like literal, like, you know, tunnel vision, right? So of course you can have those physical kind of symptomologies as well, but yes, absolutely, that spiritual sight, that clarity to be able to see options, that clarity to be able to see where those options might lead you, right? Because you're consulting a perspective higher than your own.
Yep, exactly. Well, I mean, whatever we want to call, whatever the person wants to call it. I mean, it's you can call it whatever you want. There is just something that's spiritually higher out there. I mean, and you're right about the television thing because I see. I've had it happen more in the reverse, where like I'm going through something fucking bad, like something in life that is weighing down you in every aspect, and you have that tunnel vision because you're just so worried about what's next that you can't. Nothing else outside of that one problem is going to make you open your eyes. And
You have to block it out. Yeah, you have to
when
block
it
everything else out.
when it resolves, though, it that feeling when your eyes finally open again, and it's almost like the world looks brighter in a way. It's almost like the world shines more because you all of a sudden have all that weight off you and you just realize you found a solution to your problem and everything's going to be fine. that you were worried over nothing, and it's when that weight leaves your head that it's just like, oh my god, the world seems so much brighter and alive now. Like
Well,
you,
sometimes we do need to embrace it that way. That's that inner warrior, right, Jeremy?
exactly,
Sometimes you just got to, put your head down, get your get your bullhorns out and start plowing forward. And there are all moments where we need to embrace that warrior aspect and kind of focus exclusively on one thing and just see it through to the other side. They
exactly.
have that saying, when you're in hell, when you're stuck in hell, just keep going. Like eventually you'll make it out to the other side.
Yep. If you, I mean, yeah, if you're going through hell, just keep on walking. But it's,
Yeah,
uh, I mean, because yeah, and that's base. That's 100% what you gotta do. You just keep, you guys. I mean, it seems like at that point like a routine almost because you're just following a routine every day. You're just you're waiting for the cards to drop, and you're just constantly walking forward, doing what you gotta do every day, going to sleep, and hoping the next day that something will happen. And it sucks. It really, really sucks when that happens. But it's also not a bad thing because it's a teaching moment. It teaches. It kind of like gives you a lesson that the universe wanted you to know at that point. But they wanted you to trial and error. I mean, ancient Greece is famous for it. You gotta have that test, that to test the strength to see what you earned. Like everybody has quests in the ancient world because quests help you learn, and that's basically what
exactly.
life is. One quest after the next, and some of them are fun and frivolous, and some are just daunting as could be.
And kind of bringing that back to astrology, because that's where, like what are called astrological transits or forecasts come in. Because yes, sometimes you have these nice soft positive aspects and it's like, yes, go and work on this, and this is your time to go on vacation, this is a really good time to spend quality time with your loved ones, this is time to work on your health, right? But then you have what are called hard aspects every once in a while. And those hard aspects, well, many people often interpret them as don't do this or don't do that. I like to view them in the same way that you just described, Jeremy. They are your quests because they're either asking you to incorporate some aspect of your nature that you haven't really worked with yet, a strength that you haven't fully integrated. They're asking you to correct something about your own nature, right? So learn, or they're asking you to release something, let something go. And so those hard aspects in astrological forecasting are just as valuable, sometimes even more valuable than all those nice soft positive ones that say, yeah, go hug your loved ones and go and be creative and go and work out, this is your time to work on your health. Well, I mean, sometimes those are also the challenge ones too, um, depending on who it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I'm actually on a health quest right now. Literally just started going to see doctors for the first time in like 3 years because life got in the way and I didn't have time to worry about myself. So I'm just starting that now. It's freaking fun, getting poked and prodded constantly, but it's necessary sometimes. I had that feeling like I'm like think I need to make sure I'm medically good because it seems like it's just important right now. I don't know why. Like it kept going through my head like get this done, and I'm like okay, I guess I should. It was literally the universe telling me like you should go look at that, see what happens. But we're not gonna promise you anything,
Well,
but see what happens.
you've got a little one who wants to spend a long time with you, right? So you got to
Exactly.
make sure that you're around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta make sure you stick around. But we were talking about ancient civilizations a little bit. So, I mean, back in those days, things like astrology and philosophy were commonplace in every school and even parents. It was the main thing they taught. I mean, obviously, that's not the sense anymore because now we have to. I mean, we have to learn certain things nowadays, and we also are forced to learn things that are necessary nowadays. But I'm slowly seeing like a comeback in this, and I mean, I know schools that have like astrology electives, and they have philosophy. I mean, every college has philosophy, but I see it coming into high schools a little bit now too. I mean, do you feel like the world's kind of like going backwards a little bit because we feel like it's necessary?
Oh my gosh, it is massively necessary. So, in our world, we have evolved massively in terms of technology, in terms of our lifestyle, right? I mean, we live in, Jeremy, you and I are in like extreme cold right now, but we're okay. We live in heated homes. Let's take ourselves back 100 years, 200 years ago. That wasn't the case, right? So we have all of these gifts now that we didn't have years, 100, 200, definitely a lot more than that, right? But what hasn't necessarily changed and may have even regressed to a certain point is our spiritual maturity.
Yep.
And I mean, this is a terrible way to put it, but you don't take dangerous things and put them into the hands of kids.
Yeah, you don't let the kids run around with the scissors. That's the way to put it. Like you don't let the kids run around with the scissors. Like it's not going to be a good thing. At the end of the day, you're going to end up in the ER. Like
And it's kind of interesting because the world has become very petty, I think would really be a good way to put it. I mean, people send me reels and memes all the time, and so much of it is petty
100%.
and really glorifying a lower nature.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
we need things like astrology, hermetic philosophy to bring back one self-knowledge, right? Because when you know yourself, there's a certain degree of confidence that comes with that, and so there's no need to be petty to others, right? And then the other thing is that um, all of all of these sacred tools also foster compassion. We're all in this together. Why make each other miserable all the time? Why be petty? Why glorify the lower nature that basically kind of seeks to rip out the throat of others constantly, right? Or
exactly.
to um, elevate itself, above others and create misery in that way. Um, when we know who we are, when we know what our gifts are, there's no need to be envious. There's no need to tear others down. You know, I mean, Jeremy, when you're doing something that genuinely brings you joy, it doesn't matter what other people do.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, give me a laptop. Let me podcast while the world burns around me. I'll be good. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, when you're doing what really brings you the most joy in this world, I mean, nothing bothers you. I mean, I could be watching the most horrible news in the world on TV, which I do a lot because that's how we try to get the baby asleep is with news. But uh, as long as I have her in front of me though, and I can see her, like the most horrible news doesn't bother me. It's just like it's gonna happen. It is what it is. It's not happening to me personally, thank God, but it's it's gonna happen. It's out there. The world's gonna have bad things happen. That's unavoidable. It's not. It's fate. Fate. Bad things are fated to happen, just like good things are fated to happen. But as long as you have that joy, which that little we're not walking bundle of joy that's constantly a pain in the butt, like that distracts you from everything else, and it keeps you happy and keeps you grounded.
yeah. And there's a lot more people who need to find that in their lives. And
There,
and that's one of the things that I love helping others do.
I mean, you're right. A lot of people do need to find that out. I mean, all the political turmoil in this world nowadays, not just the U.S., but in the whole world nowadays, these people that are out there protesting every day or on social media making all these videos downcasting what the other side's doing, blah blah blah. It's they're not focusing on themselves. They're focusing on all these outside things that certain groups out there put there to distract us from being able to grow spiritually, to grow mentally. They want to distract us. They want us just to be these sheep. They're going to follow the herd and do what everybody else is doing instead of doing the things we should be doing. Which you're right. It's 100% needs to go back to people working on themselves. I almost think it was better back in those farm days when people were all sitting around just all day. You're working, but you had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to ponder on things, and that's what the world needs. I mean, I'm not saying we need to go back to that completely, but there's got to be a happy middle ground. There's got to be a happy middle
Yeah,
ground, you know?
I like my heating. Let's at least keep that.
Please, nothing like coming home on a freaking 8-degree day and actually getting to sit in the house with heat and just being like, oh my god, thank you, because everybody knows offices are not heated that great. They're too big and they don't want to run the heat high enough to keep them warm.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
God, oh my god, freaking coldest bathroom on freaking earth is at my workplace. I swear to God. I swear to God, there's no heat on that bathroom, and it's got huge windows. I'm like, every time you walk in there in the winter, it's like, oh my God, like I don't even want to use this. I don't even want to use this, but no choice. But I mean, yeah, to get it
that's
back,
how they keep bathroom breaks short.
I, I honestly believe it is. I honestly believe it is. I believe that's their philosophy on that. But I mean, to bring it back to it though, yeah, I mean, people are so distracted by everything going on around them, they can't go
Yeah,
back to self. They can't go back to self. But and that's why these ancient systems are relevant. Why we can't forget about them because we need to bring some of them back. Can't I can't bring that I can't say that enough. Really, I mean, it's happening in the paranormal community, especially. It's happening where
yeah,
all the people who have spiritual careers are, and there's more and more of them every day. It's
yeah,
amazing actually compared to when I was a kid. But they're bringing these. I know more people that do. I know more people that say, "Oh, I've done Reiki. I've I've seen a I see a psychic regularly. I see an astrologist lately regularly." It's I more and more people are saying that because these services are posted on Instagram constantly. They're posted on Facebook constantly. There's groups to get free tarot readings for God's sakes. I don't believe they're not all scams, but there's a lot of them, and there's always good amongst the bad. But so, do you think we're going back to these? Do you think that we actually are heading back to try to learn some of these ancient things more and more in this world? And I think that's what 27 is really going to be about. 2027 is going to be like the apex of it finally.
I really hope so. It's about time. We really do need this. You know, like to your point about like the protest groups and that kind of thing. Um, we've been pushed to um, no longer be reflective, to sit with things, to ponder, to discern. Everybody needs to have an instant opinion about everything.
Yep.
And the thing about that is it actually makes you extremely manipulable.
Oh yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that's what they're trying to do. I agree. And no one needs to know your opinion. Stop posting your opinion on freaking social media. Nobody cares. Oh my god, I can't say it enough. Like nobody cares that the right's doing this, the left's doing this. I'm gonna go cry on it. No, stop it. God, go. If you feel that bad about it, go write a freaking article for a newspaper. Like, but Jesus, like we don't need to hear it on social media. Like I don't care what you think about the latest thing the president did. I really don't care. It's just
Well, that's the thing. And you know, the other piece to this too is that really what you want your life to be?
you can't worry about yourself if you spend your life worrying about others. Exactly.
Is that really what you want your life to be? I know for myself, like I consider my life to be a gift. So there's a lot of wonderful things that I have in it. I have my partner, I have my family, I have my dog, I have my astrological work that I do. I have this amazing community at the Modern Mystery School that I'm part of, that I get to travel internationally, meet amazing people, do things that I love. You know, I um there's so much in my life to love that the thought of even participating in politics, it's like, why would I do that?
Exactly. I mean, I I have a lot of friends who are podcasters, and they go one way or the other. They go left or they go right, and they try to get me in the middle. And I'm like, I got better things to do. I'm sorry, but I got better things to do. I'm not gonna sit here and play freaking referee in a tennis match. I'm not gonna sit here and decide which
Yeah.
side of the court the ball's on at this moment. Like I'm good. Like I'll sit on the outside and spectate it all, and because you know what, I I've hated some presidents we've had, and I've loved some presidents we had in the 20 years since I've been an adult, and it's it doesn't matter. It's good in 4 years. Guess what? Everything changes yet again, and
You're just gonna be arguing. You'll still be arguing. It'll just be about something different, right?
for
And
better for better or worse, every 4 years things change. Like that's just the way it goes, for better or worse. But
and
it's
while people are arguing, you know what? Um, there's your child's first steps that you could miss out on. There's romance waiting around the corner. There is success waiting for you. There's all kinds of wisdom and beauty and amazing experiences that you want to remember at the end of your life.
exactly exactly. There's a lot. You're gonna miss out on a lot if you got your head in the news of the world, and it's just why bother? Why bother? Why bother missing out on your life? Why not live your life because you're worried about how everybody else is living theirs? Like that. That's honestly that's the line right there. That's actually a freaking good line I just said. So I mean, that's basically the truth of it. And things like astrology can help with that. They can help open you to what you should be doing in life, which we are getting close to the end of this. So I'll ask. I always love to ask this at the end of anybody in the spiritual world. What do you, if you had to give us one message on what you think the near future holds for us as a global community, what have you, where do you think it's going? What would you tell us in order to do the best we could do?
Everyone wants to be empowered right now, but with all this incoming energy from Aries, it's very easy to kind of take off and not necessarily take off in the right direction or with the right equipment, so to speak, with the right knowledge. So let the spirit of inspiration infuse you. Be willing to take risks, but prepare yourself ahead of time because there's also a lot of people who talk a really good motivational game, but may not necessarily be able to lead you where you're trying to go.
Exactly, exactly. I like that. It is. I mean, it's that's good. That's a good message for the future. It really is, and hopefully the next year isn't that big a deal. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes to. But yeah, fingers
There's
crossed.
beautiful
Exact.
things coming. Maybe we need to have this conflict. Let the tension finally melt because we come to recognize that no matter what side you're on, every one of us is a human being. We all have a good heart. We want to go home to our families. We want to give and share love. We want to have a roof over our heads and we want to be able to enjoy this world. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter your sex, your gender, your race. None of these things. Those are things that we share in common as humans.
Exactly. I mean, it's all details. At the end of the day, it's just all details that don't make a difference in the big picture. But well put, Ray. Well put. But tell us, Alex, where can they find you? Where can they find your work if they want to reach out for help?
Yeah, I'd be honored to connect with anyone. So you can find me on my website, astrologerroyale.com. And actually, while they're there, I do have a free ebook that they can download. It's called Star Powered Resilience. And it's just a little zodiac inspired guide to understanding your gifts and strengths and also how to mitigate stress according to your zodiac sign.
Well, there you go, folks. A nice little freebie for you. You gotta love that. You gotta. As far as me, folks, you all should still know where you can find me. It hasn't changed that much. Just if you don't remember, check the outro. It's there. It's there. I ain't going through it all again. But actually, I got to re-record the outro, but I got to do that. But I want to thank Aleksandra for coming on today because it's been a enlightening conversation, fun conversation, but very enlightening. And now, as usual, I'll spend the rest of my day writing over this whole conversation in my head over and over again because that's the way it works. Because every conversation on the show opens my mind and makes me start pondering things again. So, ooh, it's gonna be a fun one today. I'm already telling, but Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure, folks. I will see you next weekend. I'm pretty sure I got a couple next weekend, so I'll see you then. Have a good one,
Oh,
everybody.
thank you, Jeremy.
My pleasure.